Hello, everybody. Okay, this video is going to be over our warm-up, which is reviewing writing the explicit rule, and then it's going to be over our practice test for our Unit 3, Part 2 test. So we're going to go through the warm-up, and then we will get started on the practice test. So it says, given the explicit rule, write the first 5 terms. So I'm going to draw my first 5 lines, because I know I have to write my first 5 terms. So if you guys remember, the first number is our first term, and then whatever is listed after is what I'm adding or subtracting by, since this is arithmetic. So I'm adding 10 each time. So I'm going to get negative 4 plus 10 is going to give me 6. 6 plus 10 is going to give me 16, 26, and then 36. So those are my first 5 terms for this sequence. The next is determine if the following is geometric or arithmetic, then write the explicit rule. So we have to make sure we write the explicit rule, and then we have to determine whether it's geometric or arithmetic. So let's look at our sequence. We go from 6 to 12 to 24 to 48. Multiplying by 2, so it's geometric, so we're going to use our G rule. And remember, the explicit just starts off G sub n. We don't start with our first term. Then we write our first term times our common ratio, and then the little exponent goes at the top. Okay, next one, determine if the following is geometric or arithmetic, and then write the explicit rule. So we go from 10 to 2 to negative 6 to negative 14. We're subtracting 8. So this is arithmetic. So we're going to have a sub n equals our first term, which is 10, minus our common ratio, or common difference, and then we have our parentheses n minus 1. So the green is the only thing we changed. So that is how we write our rules. Now we are going to get started on the practice test for Unit 3, Part 2. So this goes into account everything we've been learning for this unit. So the first one says write the first 3 terms of the arithmetic sequence defined by the recursive rule. So we're going to create our 3 lines, because we just have to write the first 3 terms. So it says a sub 1 equals negative 5, so we're starting with negative 5, and then we're adding 4 each time. So we're going to get negative 1, and then add 4, we're going to get 3. So those are going to be our first 3 terms. Please make sure you guys show supporting work on this, or else you will not get full credit. The next one says write the first 5 terms of the geometric sequence defined by the explicit rule. So I need my first 5 terms, so I'm going to write 5 parentheses. Okay, if you remember, the first number is always our first term. Then we're multiplying by 2 each time. So we have 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. And 40 times 2 is 80. Those are our first 5 terms. Okay, going on to the next one, it says write the first 4 terms of the arithmetic sequence defined by the explicit rule given. So I'm going to draw my 4 lines. My first term, remember, is the first term listed, which is negative 5. Then I'm adding 2 each time. So we're going to get negative 3, then negative 1, and then 1. And those are my first 4 terms. Okay, next one, it says write the first 4 terms for the geometric sequence. So I'm going to draw my 4 lines. And if you guys remember, our first term is going to be the G sub 1, which is 32. And then we're multiplying by 1/2 each time. So half of 32 is 16. Half of 16 is 8. And half of 8 is 4. Those are my first 4 rules. Okay, going down to the next one, it says determine if the following is arithmetic or geometric, and then write the recursive rule. So remember, the recursive rule defines our first term first. So we go from 32 to 8 to 2 to 0.5. So we're multiplying by a fraction. Multiplying by 1/4. So this has to be geometric. So this is the recursive rule, correct? Yes. So I'm going to have g sub 1 equals my first term, which is 32. Put my comma, and then I'm going to have g sub n equals my ratio, which is 1/4, and then g n minus 1. And that is my recursive rule. Now the next one says determine if the following sequence is arithmetic or geometric, then write the explicit rule. So let's look at this. We go from 8 to 2 to -4 to -10. We're subtracting 6, so this is arithmetic. So our arithmetic, since this is the explicit rule, we don't explicitly state, so we just start with a sub n equals, then we put our first term, which is 8, minus our common difference, and then we have our parentheses n minus 1. Okay, so that is all that we have to do on the first page. Now let's go on to the next page. The next page, it says, given the following explicit rule, find the n for the value of 27. So this is where we take 27 and plug it in for a sub n. So we're going to have 27 equals 3 plus 4 times n minus 1. So I have to distribute. You get 4n minus 4. Then you can combine your like terms. You get 27 equals 4n minus 1. If you wanted to subtract the 3 over and then add the 4 over, you could also do that. So there's more than one way to do this. You're going to add 1 to both sides. Your 28 equals 4n, and then my last step is to divide by 4. You get n equals 7. So number 27 is the 7th term in the sequence. Okay, going down, it says, given the following sequence, identify the sequence and the function type. You guys remember, this one is A, so it's arithmetic. Arithmetic is always linear, because it's always going to be a straight line. Then we have to label our graph. So n always goes on our x-axis. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a sub n is going to go on our y. And we have to go from 1 all the way up to 10, so we could probably just go up by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then we plot our points. So 110. 2, 7. 3, 4. And then 4, 1. Those are our 4 points, you guys. And remember, do not connect your dots. Okay, next one. We can tell that it's a geometric sequence from the G. If you guys remember, geometric is always exponential. Okay, let's start by labeling our x-axis. We have n, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have g sub n. Looks like we need to get up to 24, and our first number is 3. This one, it looks like we can hit 24 by going up by 3s each time. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. I'm going to plot my points. So 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 12, and 4, 24. And remember, do not connect your dots. And that is what our function looks like. Okay, that is all for the paper portion of the test. So now we're going to go on and we're going to go over the SchoolNet portion. So we'll be taking the paper portion one day and then the SchoolNet portion the next day. First one says, given the following sequences, determine the type and identify the common difference or ratio. So on the first one, I go from 5 to -1 to -7 to -13. I'm subtracting 6. If we're subtracting, it's arithmetic. And if it's arithmetic, we have a common difference, and that common difference would be -6. Next one, we go from 1,024 to 256 to 64 to 16. So what I would do, we know we're going down and we're multiplying. So we have to be multiplying by a fraction. So if we're multiplying, we know it has to be geometric, and we can eliminate these two. Well, we know it's a fraction, so we know it has to be 1/4, but let's double check. If you type in 1,024 divided by 256, you should get 4. So you know you're multiplying by 1/4. So this one has to be a ratio of 1/4. Okay, next, determine if the following relations are functions. So remember, a relation, each input has exactly one output. So on this one, do any of our inputs have 2 outputs? No, so it is a function. This one, our inputs repeat, so we know it's not a function. And this one, we just look at our x values, none of them repeat, so it is a function. Okay, next one, evaluate the function 3 of x minus 5 at x equals 4. So we're going to take 4, plug it in for x. So we're going to have 3 to the 4th minus 5. And you can just put that into your calculator and figure out what it is. And it looks like you should get 80, not 86. 76 is your answer. Okay, going on to the next page. Oh, I didn't realize there was answers there. Oh, f of 4 equals 76. That was the answer. Sorry, you guys, didn't realize there was a multiple choice for that one. Must have got moved to the next page. Next, determine if the following are linear, quadratic, and or exponential. So this one has your slight curve, so it is exponential. The second one is a straight line, so it is linear. And the next one is your upside down U shape, so it is quadratic. Okay, next one, determine if the following are linear, quadratic, or exponential. So linear, remember, has the x. Quadratic, you have x squared or 2x's, and then exponential, you have your exponent of x. So the first one, our exponent's an x, so it's exponential. Next one, you just have an x, so it's linear. Next one, you have 2 x's, so that would give you x squared, which is quadratic. The next one, you again have 2 x's, which would give you x squared, so this would also be quadratic. Next one, you just have 1x, so this is linear. And the last one, your x is an exponent, so this is exponential. Okay, going on to the next problem. It says identify the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, which is the one going up and down. So it looks like it crosses at 3. So it can't be either our 6's. So then we have to think about, okay, is it 3, 0 or 0, 3? If you remember, it's our x and then our y. Our x is 0 at our y-intercept, so it has to be 0, 3. Okay, going on to the next page. It says, given the recursive rule, find the 4th term. So let's draw our 4 lines. Our first term is 480. And we're multiplying by 1/4. So we're going to do 480 times 1/4, and we're going to get 120. Then we're going to take 120 and times it by 1/4, and we're going to get 30. And then we're going to take 30 and multiply it by 1/4, and we're going to get 7.5. So the fourth term would have to be 7.5. Okay, last part is our matching. So the first one from 4 to 8 to 12 to 16, we're adding 4. This one we're multiplying by 2 because we go from 4 to 8 to 8 to 16 to 32. This one we go from 4 to 2 to 1 to 0.5. So we're not subtracting, so we have to be multiplying. Multiplying by 1/2. This one we go from 4 to 3.5 to 3 to 2.5. So this one we're subtracting by 1/2. So the first one, if we're adding 4, it has to be arithmetic, so C or D. This one we're adding 4, this one we're subtracting by 1/2. So this one has to be C. Our other arithmetic one was the one at the bottom, so this one would have to be D. And this one we're multiplying by 2. This one's 1/2, so this would have to be A, and then this one would have to be B. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. I kind of went through that pretty quick. Hopefully we understand everything from this unit. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me.